Milo jumped beside Bruno. "We did it, but he's still dangerous." Bruno growled, "Then we finish this." The Shadow King rose slowly, his eyes burning with fury but his body unstable. "You may have wounded me, but I will return the night you fear most." Bruno stood firm. "We're not afraid." Milo's eyes narrowed. "And we're not done." The Shadow King lifted his hands for one final strike. Darkness coiled around him. The forest held its breath. And Bruno and Milo faced the greatest moment of their lives. First, getting into this video, like, share, subscribe, click the bell icon, comment down what stories do you like according into that create stories that you like. Let's begin. In a quiet little town by the river, there lived a big golden dog named Bruno and a small snow-white cat named Milo. They were neighbors, but not exactly friends. Bruno loved to run, bark at butterflies, and chase his own tail. Milo, on the other hand, loved silence, sunbathing, and watching the world from rooftops. Every morning, Milo would sigh as Bruno barked excitedly. Every night, Bruno would wonder why Milo always ignored him. One rainy afternoon, something changed. Milo was stuck on a tall fence, trembling. The wind was strong, and the rain made everything slippery. Bruno, who was sheltering under a tree, saw the cat struggling. Without thinking, he ran through the rain, stood under the fence, and barked softly, "Jump, I'll catch you." Milo hesitated, but trusted him. He jumped, and Bruno caught him gently. They hid under the tree together until the rain stopped. Milo's fur was soaked, and Bruno shivered, but being together made the storm feel warm. From that day on, they became inseparable. They walked the riverbank together every evening, Bruno splashing in water, Milo walking gracefully along rocks. They chased fireflies, shared snacks, and even napped under the same old tree where their friendship began. One day, as the sun dipped into gold and pink colors, Bruno said, "I used to think cats didn't like dogs." Milo flicked his tail and replied, "And I used to think dogs were too loud, but I guess some friendships are louder than fear." The two sat quietly, watching the sunset. A dog and a cat, different, but perfect together. And from that day on, everyone in the town knew. Friendship doesn't care about differences. It grows where hearts decide to meet. Weeks passed, and Bruno and Milo's friendship became the talk of the town. People would smile when they saw the dog and cat walking side by side like they were born to be together. But one night, something unusual happened. The moon didn't rise. The sky was dark, darker than usual. Not a single star glimmered. The wind whispered strangely through the trees. Milo, who always slept on the rooftop, felt uneasy. Bruno sensed it too. He lifted his head from his blanket and let out a soft growl. Something felt wrong. Suddenly, a faint cry echoed from the forest at the edge of town. "Did you hear that?" Milo jumped down from the roof. Bruno nodded. "Someone needs help." Without wasting a moment, they ran toward the forest. As they entered the woods, the air grew colder. Fireflies flickered nervously around them. Milo climbed onto Bruno's back for safety. After walking deeper inside, they found a little owl tangled in thorny vines. "That's why the forest feels scared," Milo whispered. "Owls are the night's guardians. Without them, darkness feels heavier." Bruno carefully pulled at the vines with his teeth, while Milo used his sharp claws to cut free the smaller ones. After a few moments of teamwork, the little owl was free. "Thank you," the owl hooted weakly. "I watch over the night skis. Without me, the moon hides." "The moon hides?" Bruno asked. "Yes," the owl said. "Fear covered the sky, but your kindness just lifted it." The owl flapped its wings and rose into the air. A soft shimmer followed it. Moments later, a silver glow spread across the sky. The moon slowly appeared from behind the clouds, shining brighter than ever. Milo smiled. "We saved the night." Bruno wagged his tail happily. "No storm or darkness can stop us. We're a team." And under the newly returned moonlight, the dog and cat walked back home, closer than ever. Inside the forest, strange things began to happen. Leaves rustled even when there was no wind. Trees seemed to shift slightly, as though turning to watch them. And tiny glowing eyes peeked from the bushes before vanishing. Bruno sniffed the air. Something watching us. "Everything is watching us," Milo said, his fur standing on end. But they pushed forward. Soon they reached a narrow path, blocked by twisting roots that formed a tangled wall. Milo leapt onto the roots and examined them. "These aren't natural," he said. "They're holding something in." "Or keeping us out," Bruno added. Bruno touched the roots with his collar. The silver glow pulsed, and the roots slowly unwound, revealing a hidden passage. "Looks like the collar has more tricks," Milo smirked. Bruno grinned proudly. "Guess I'm magical now." The passage led them into a thick, swirling fog. Inside the mist, whispers floated around them. Soft voices, sad voices, voices calling their names. "Brune. Milo." The sound made Milo's fur prickle. "These aren't real," he warned. "Fog like this tries to trick your mind." But then the fog formed shapes, shadows that resembled lost animals, wandering aimlessly. One small shape stepped forward, looking like a puppy made of smoke. Help me," it whimpered. Bruno's heart ached. "A puppy, Milo, we have to." Milo blocked him. "No, Bruno, look." The shadow's legs weren't touching the ground. Its body flickered like a candle flame. "It's not alive," Milo whispered. "It's a lure." As if angered by being discovered, the fog twisted violently. The shadow puppy melted into a monstrous shape, tall, thin, with hollow glowing eyes that stared straight at them. The creature hissed. Bruno's collar blazed bright silver. Milo shouted, "Bruno now." Bruno charged forward, his paws glowing with the collar's light. The shadow creature lunged, but Bruno leaped, landing a powerful strike. Light exploded. The fog shrieked and dissolved, and the creature vanished like smoke in the wind. As the fog cleared, they found themselves standing in front of a giant ancient tree with a glowing crack running through its trunk. Milo's eyes widened. This is the heart tree." Bruno tilted his head. "What's a heart tree?" "It's the oldest tree in the forest," Milo explained. "Every creature, every light, every shadow, they all come from here." Bruno stepped closer, but it's hurt. The glowing crack pulsed like a heartbeat slowing down. Milo whispered, "If the heart tree dies, the whole forest dies." Suddenly, the ground trembled. A deep, rumbling voice echoed from within the tree. "Guardian, you have arrived." Bruno and Milo froze. From the crack, a dark shape began to emerge, tall, powerful, and filled with swirling shadows. The true enemy had awakened. The ground shook beneath Bruno and Milo as the dark shape stepped out from the glowing crack in the heart tree. Leaves rattled, branches trembled, even the wind seemed afraid to breathe. Bruno stood tall, though his paws tingled with fear. Milo's tail flicked, his eyes sharp. At last, the creature fully emerged. A towering figure made of swirling darkness, crowned with twisting branches and eyes like burning embers. The Shadow King. His voice echoed like thunder wrapped in ice. "Guardian and the Cat of Sight. You dare enter my forest." Milo hissed softly, "Your forest, you're poisoning it." The Shadow King tilted his head, amused. "Light and darkness must balance. But the moon gave too much light, so I will swallow it forever." Bruno growled, "Not while we're here." The Shadow King laughed, a deep, unsettling sound that made the leaves shiver. "Then come, little guardian. Show me your strength." Without warning, shadowy vines shot out from the ground like snakes. "Milo, move," Bruno barked. Milo leaped aside just as the vines struck where he was standing. He dashed up a fallen log and onto a rock for higher ground. Bruno charged toward the Shadow King, his silver collar blazing. The Shadow King raised his hand, and a wall of darkness formed. Bruno slammed into it. But instead of stopping him, the collar glowed brighter and cut through the darkness like a blade. Milo cheered. Yes, Bruno, you can break his shadow. But the Shadow King was far from beaten. Impressive for a creature of fur and bark. He slammed his staff into the ground. Black roots erupted everywhere, twisting and curling toward Bruno. Milo shouted, "Bruno, jump." Bruno leaped, and the collar gave him a burst of height. He soared over the roots and landed beside Milo. "Milo, what do we do?" Bruno panted. "We can't beat him head-on," Milo said. "We need to weaken him." "How?" Milo pointed to the heart tree. "The crack, he's drawing power from it. If we close the crack, his strength will drop." Bruno nodded. "Then that's our plan." The Shadow King sensed their idea. "You will not touch my seal." He unleashed a wave of darkness that swept across the ground like a storm. Bruno grabbed Milo by the scruff and ran, dodging fallen branches and shifting shadows. They raced toward the heart tree, but the darkness was gaining fast. Milo yelled over the roar, "Bruno, use the collar." Bruno skidded to a halt. The collar glowed, responding to his determination. He lowered his head and charged. A silver aura burst from him, blasting away the wave of darkness just long enough for Milo to leap onto the heart tree's crack. Milo dug his claws into the glowing fracture. "Bruno, push your light into the tree." Bruno braced himself and pressed his glowing chest against the trunk. The collar flared, sending silver light flooding into the heart tree. The crack began to close. The forest brightened. The air trembled. "No!" the Shadow King roared, shadows spinning violently around him. "Stop them!" But Bruno and Milo didn't stop. Bruno's paws shook. Milo's claws sparked. Light spread across the heart tree. More and more. Until with a thunderous sound, the crack sealed shut. A scream tore through the forest. The Shadow King staggered backward, his form flickering like smoke caught in a storm. His power was fading. Milo jumped beside Bruno. "We did it, but he's still dangerous." Bruno growled, "Then we finish this." The Shadow King rose slowly, his eyes burning with fury but his body unstable. "You may have wounded me, but I will return the night you fear most." Bruno stood firm. "We're not afraid." Milo's eyes narrowed. "And we're not done." The Shadow King lifted his hands for one final strike. Darkness coiled around him. The forest held its breath. And Bruno and Milo faced the greatest moment of their lives. And their biggest battle was just beginning. "Please don't start floating randomly," Milo joked as they entered the newly revealed path.